This message was blocked 3 times. Listen closely, beloved soul, because what you're about to read was hidden for a reason. This message, this exact alignment of words wrapped in light, was not delayed by accident. It was protected. It was covered by God's own hand until the time was right, until your spirit could receive it without doubt, without fear, without the noise of outside voices telling you who you are not. This is not for everyone. This was meant for you. And heaven has just released the seal. The block that stopped this from reaching you earlier was not resistance. It was divine preservation because you weren't ready to hear this before. Not because you were weak, but because the soil of your heart was still healing from the weight of things you never asked to carry. But now God has whispered something into the sacred silence. Let them see it now. Let them hear what I've been writing over their life since the day they survived what should have broken them. Let them feel what's been hovering over them in the unseen realm. Let them finally open what was always theirs. And that, beloved, is what you're holding in your hands right now. Not just a message, but a spiritual inheritance, a divine appointment dressed in words. Something heaven reserved for this moment and this version of you. Not the version who questioned their worth. Not the version who waited to be chosen, but the one who has now outgrown the cage of needing approval from people who couldn't even see your soul. This message carries the breath of everything you've been sensing lately. The shift, the strange, peace in the middle of confusion, the ache you couldn't explain. It's all been building to this unlocking, to this sacred knowing that no matter who ignored you, no matter who forgot you, God never did. Heaven did not write you off. In fact, it's been writing your name deeper into the scroll of destiny. Every time you held on while everything inside you begged to let go, heaven took note. Every time you stayed soft when life hardened others, heaven recorded it. And now the record is being opened. And the message that was blocked not once, not twice, but 3 times is finally landing in your spirit like a soft flame, steady, alive, undeniable. You didn't find this message. It found you. It waited for the moment when your heart would be strong enough to not just read it, but receive it. And now that moment has come. The wait is over. The reason you kept feeling like something was about to break open, this is it. This is your confirmation. Not because a prophet told you, not because a friend validated you, but because heaven said, "Now let these words enter your spirit like rain on dry ground. Let the parts of you that forgot how to hope begin to breathe again." You are not late. You are not lost. You are not broken beyond repair. You are standing in the place where heaven decided to interrupt everything just to reach you. Do you realize how many times heaven tried to send this word to you before? But every time it came close, your heart was still holding too tightly to things that were meant to be released. You were surrounded by noise, the noise of expectations, the noise of fear, the noise of trying to be strong when all you really needed was rest. God saw that. And instead of forcing this truth on you before your soul was ready, he waited. He covered the message, blocked it, hid it beneath layers of silence so it would not be wasted in a time you couldn't yet hear. But now, beloved, now you are listening differently. Now your spirit leans in. Now your wounds are no longer open, in pain, but open in hunger. You are finally in the posture to receive, and heaven knew it before you did. You see, this message isn't just a set of words, it is a key. And not just any key. It is the key to a door you've been standing in front of for far too long, wondering why it wouldn't open. It wouldn't open because the message hadn't been unlocked yet, and the moment you opened this today, something in the spiritual realm cracked. Something in the atmosphere of your life started to tremble, not in fear, but in response. Because heaven is voice activated, and the moment your spirit whispered, "Yes, I'm ready," heaven said, "Then let it begin." That is what you're standing in now. The beginning not of just a blessing, but of an entirely new spiritual landscape. God is not just answering a prayer. He is shifting your environment. The people who once overlooked you will begin to notice something they can't explain. It won't be your clothes. It won't be your status. It will be your light, that undeniable glow that only comes when someone has survived something sacred. You, beloved, are not walking into favor. You are favor. You don't have to chase approval anymore. You don't have to explain your soul. The message you're reading now is proof that heaven sees you not just as someone trying, but as someone chosen. So pause for a moment. Let the tears fall if they need to. Let your heart exhale. You've been carrying questions like bricks in your chest, and heaven is gently pulling them out now, not all at once, but one by one. You are not being rushed. You are being restored. You are not being pushed. You are being prepared. And this message, this blocked, buried, protected message, is your confirmation that what you've been sensing wasn't delusion. It was direction. You weren't wrong to believe. You weren't crazy to hope. And you're not foolish for opening this right now. This moment was heaven-timed. It was meant only for you. Do you know why this message was blocked? Not once, not twice, but 3 separate times? Because God was protecting the purity of the moment you're in right now. There were forces that tried to delay you, distractions that tried to cloud you, emotions that tried to blind you, but none of them were greater than the plan God had written for you behind the veil. You were meant to receive this, not when you were surrounded by noise, but when your soul had grown quiet enough to finally hear again. There were people in your life who would have misunderstood this message if it had come earlier. And even you would have doubted it had it reached you in the wrong season. But now you are aligned. Now your spiritual ears are open. Now your hands are empty enough to receive without clinging, and your heart is steady enough to carry what's sacred. This moment is not an accident. It is a divine appointment. That's why the delays came. Not to deny you, but to deliver you into right timing. What's been unlocked in this moment is more than a message. It's a release. You may not see it fully yet, but something in the atmosphere around your life just shifted. Something divine just broke open in silence. The weight you've been carrying is being lifted, not by effort, but by presence. The presence of God that waits for no crowd, that needs no spotlight, that shows up quietly and still changes everything. Right now, that presence is moving in your direction, not because you begged, not because you forced it, but because heaven decided now is the moment. You've held on when it felt like no one saw. You stood firm when it looked like nothing would change. And heaven has honored your perseverance, not with pity, but with power. This message has been echoing in the spirit since long before you opened it. Angels have circled this word. It has been guarded, wrapped, timed, and finally released. And now it has found you, not your neighbor, not your friend, not the world, you. Because God doesn't speak in generalities when it comes to destiny. He speaks personally, intimately, directly. And this is personal. You may have doubted yourself, but God never did. You may have wondered if you missed it, but God always knew how to reroute you. The reason this message found you now is because everything before now was preparing your soul to be able to receive it without fear and walk in it without apology. You're not being invited into another cycle of waiting. You're being welcomed into fulfillment, into clarity, into sacred movement. And yes, it will happen quietly. Just like this message came, just like healing always does. You won't need to force anything. It will flow. You won't have to explain to people who don't get it because this isn't for them. It's for you. And God has made sure nothing can block it anymore. Not people, not doubt, not the past. This message is proof that what's coming next is spiritually sealed, and no hand can touch what heaven has already claimed in your name. And now I need you to understand one more thing. Listen to me. Yes, You. You, who has always been the one to quietly keep going even when no one noticed. You, who has seen doors close without explanation and still believed in light. You who has waited, doubted, stayed awake at night wondering if God still sees you. This moment right here is proof that He does. This word is not just a message. It's evidence. God just said, let them see it now. And you're seeing it because it was meant only for you. There's something you need to understand deeply, beloved soul. The reason this message feels different, the reason your chest feels heavy and light at the same time is because this is not just encouragement. It is instruction from heaven. You didn't open this by scrolling. You were led here. Heaven waited until you were spiritually still enough, emotionally tender enough, and mentally open enough to not just hear truth, but to let it shape you. This message was blocked not because you weren't worthy of it, but because God was building your strength in the background. He was preparing you for this exact shift. The kind of shift that doesn't make noise, but completely changes your life from the inside out. This is the moment when everything that has tried to make you question your worth is silenced. This is the moment when your doubts must bow to your knowing. You were not forgotten. You were being formed. The delays weren't detours, they were development. And now God is saying, let them see it. They are ready. And beloved, you are ready, not because you figured it all out, but because you've surrendered the idea that you need to. You are finally in a place where grace can move, where purpose can breathe, where alignment can enter without resistance. That's why the message was released now, because you're no longer trying to prove anything. You're simply willing to receive. You've been walking with questions that no one could answer, carrying pain that no one even noticed. But God noticed. God heard the prayers you didn't say out loud, the ones you held inside while smiling on the outside. He saw how many times you almost gave up, but kept waking up anyway. And that's why this message was hidden. It was meant to be opened by the version of you who survived what was meant to take you out. That version of you is here now. That version of you is strong enough to hear heaven's whisper and not need a sign. Because now you know when your soul trembles with peace, it's God. This message isn't meant to just comfort you. It's meant to unlock you. You've been carrying old stories that no longer fit your new growth. You've been holding on to beliefs that kept you small, relationships that confused your clarity, patterns that slowed your purpose, and heaven has now declared enough. You are stepping out of survival and into alignment. You are being pulled into a reality that reflects the prayers you cried in silence, not the prayers of make it stop, but the deeper ones, the prayers of show me who I really am. This message is that answer. So hear me now, not as a voice on a screen, but as a divine echo sent to wake up your remembering. You are not late. You are not wrong. You are not disqualified. Everything is about to align because your heart is finally open to receive without questioning its worth. And that's when miracles flow. That's when favor stops visiting and starts staying. That's when heaven stops sending signs and starts sending fulfillment. This isn't the end of your waiting. This is the beginning of your walking. You are no longer waiting for something to happen. You are standing in what has already begun. And now I say this to you. Yes. You. Still reading. Still holding your breath. Still wondering if this could really be about you. It is. You didn't open this by chance. You opened it because God just said, let them see it now. They are not who they used to be. Let them feel it now. Their heart is ready. Let them receive it now. What was blocked is now blessed. There comes a moment when the silence breaks, not with noise, but with clarity. And this is that moment for you. What was blocked was never denied. It was simply preserved for the right moment, the right you, the version of you that had walked through fire, survived abandonment, learned how to sit with pain, and still smile at the world. God didn't block this message because you weren't deserving. He blocked it because he wanted the revelation to meet the strength in you, not the brokenness. And now that you've healed, now that you've risen from nights no one knew about, now that your eyes have stopped searching for approval and started seeing truth, he says, let them see it now. You see, this message was not supposed to be background noise. It was never meant to just make you feel better for a moment and fade away. This is your turning point, the place where delay ends, the place where God places his hand gently on your shoulder and says, you've waited long enough, now walk. The reason your spirit feels so alive right now, the reason your heart is pounding without explanation, is because this message is carrying what you already knew deep down but didn't know how to say out loud. That your waiting hasn't been wasted, that your tears were not forgotten, that heaven didn't overlook your pain. It was gathering it, redeeming it, and shaping it into purpose. Let yourself believe it now, fully. Don't just nod. Don't just agree in your mind. Let your soul say yes. Say yes to the blessing that felt too big before. Say yes to the peace that doesn't make sense. Say yes to the path that's opening up under your feet. Even if you can't see the full destination, you don't need to know everything. You just need to know this. God hasn't changed his mind about you. The promise is still alive. The favor is still moving. The miracle is still scheduled. And you're not late. You're right on time. You're right where you're supposed to be for it, to arrive. This isn't the kind of shift that demands attention. This is the kind that changes everything in secret, and suddenly your life reflects it. Your joy starts to return. Your body starts to feel lighter. The heaviness in your chest lifts. People start saying something's different about you, but you'll know it wasn't overnight. It was spiritual. It was God. It was this moment, this word, this message that finally got through. The one that was blocked 3 times, the one that waited for your soul to be ready, the one that heaven refused to give up on. So now what? Now you breathe. Now you receive. Now you stop shrinking your vision to match old disappointments. Now you walk as someone who knows they are chosen, not by people, not by the world, but by God. And if God has chosen you, then what left you wasn't meant to carry you forward. If God has spoken your name, then no other voice gets to rewrite your worth. And if this message reached you now after all the delays, then you know without a doubt the timing is no longer coming. It is here. And yes, I'm still talking to you. You who quietly stayed behind after everyone else stopped believing. You who never asked for much but always gave your all. You who read this message not just with your eyes but with your heart, because your heart already knew something was coming, and now God says it's not coming. It has begun. Walk in it. Breathe it. You were not left out. You were being led in. You have arrived, beloved. This is the place heaven was preparing for you all along, the moment where clarity finally touches the chaos, where silence transforms into understanding, where all the almost and not yet collapse into this quiet yet undeniable knowing. It's yours now. What you waited for, prayed for, hoped for, and doubted at times, it's no longer distant. It's no longer delayed. It's no longer blocked. It has arrived. And not because you forced it, not because you earned it, but because God said, release it now. There is no longer anything standing in the way. The door that didn't open before is now wide with grace. The words that couldn't reach you before have now wrapped around your heart like warmth you forgot existed. The version of you that was always doubting, second-guessing, questioning your worth, that version has stepped aside. And what stands here now is someone who knows what it's like to be spiritually fed in the wilderness, someone who knows how to find peace in uncertainty, someone who no longer waits for confirmation from the world, because heaven already confirmed. This is not just a new beginning. This is a divine release. You are no longer asking for permission to be seen, loved, called, chosen. You know now that you were seen even in the hidden places, loved even in the lonely seasons, chosen even when you felt invisible. And this message, the one that was blocked 3 times, had to wait for this you, the healed you, the awakened. You, the I don't need to chase anymore, you, the God's timing is perfect you. Heaven celebrates not with noise, but with stillness. And in this stillness, the Spirit is whispering things your heart has longed to hear. Things no one ever said to you. Things you were afraid you'd never hear, like you did not miss it. You were not left behind. Nothing you went through was wasted. The restoration will be greater than the loss. So now you do not return to begging prayers. You don't go back to shrinking yourself. You walk forward with grace in your step, with faith in your breath, with promise in your eyes. You walk as someone who has touched the edge of God's timing and lived to see it open. You walk as someone who doesn't explain themselves anymore because light needs no apology. You walk as someone who knows. If the message was blocked 3 times and still made it, it must have been heaven's priority. And now I look at you through this final line and speak to you as if no one else is listening. Yes, you, the one who needed this. The one who didn't say anything but felt everything. The one who's always been quietly strong. This is your moment. This is your release. This is your answer. Walk into it like someone who knows the delay wasn't a denial. It was God's design. And now that you've opened it, nothing will be the same. There's a peace settling into your spirit now, not the kind the world gives and takes away, but the kind that flows from heaven and wraps around the ache like light, touching wounds in silence. You've opened something that was never meant to be touched by everyone. This message was private, sacred, sealed by divine fingerprints. And now that it's in your hands, the atmosphere around your name has changed. You may not hear the sound, but the heavens just shifted in your direction. What was pending has moved into process. What was in process has moved into release. What was blocked has now been blessed.